heads is the call. And heads it is. So, Jamari, you've won the toss. What are you going to do?
We're going to ball first.
Third Women's One Day International. Surya with the first delivery, and it's a big appeal, and it's a first ball duck for Sarah Forbes. Surya strikes first ball. Isabel Joyce, what a welcome to the match.
Yeah, brilliant start, because we've seen her build a line outside off stump, want to actually score a century in one game here today.
And chipped straight back, it's 2-2. Amy Hunter is out for a first ball duck. This is an incredible start from Sri Lanka. And Ireland have been at the crease for 2 balls, 2 wickets have fallen. And 2 very dangerous batters.
Hat-trick ball.
A hat-trick ball, exactly, as the captain makes her way to the crease. Just the hat-trick ball for Surya. Well left alone by Prendergast. Got a head over it, watched it the entire way. Just a little internationals coming in for the injured Gabby Lewis. That's a fine stroke. Clears the infield, and that'll race away to the boundary rope. So Coulter Riley with the first boundary of the innings.
A beautiful shot, and I think that's when he's getting hit. Oh, there's a bit of extra bounce. And
is that gone? Prendergast is gone. So 3 wickets down. Inside the opening 5 overs, Surya strikes again. Ola Prendergast called over. And coming in at 5. Final ball of the 5th over dealt with by Leah Paul. This brings the fielder on the boundary into play. Surya, and
they're almost waiting to make sure that it gets past.
Caught behind. Christina Coulter Riley has nicked one. It's held onto by Sanjivani, and Fernando gets in on the wickets. Ireland are 13 for 4 after at the crease now, and that was a very big positive for Ireland in the
batting earlier on.
Short ball. Stokel looks up to the challenge. Just a slight top edge around the wickets. Over to Leah Paul. Good line. Leah Paul, though, strikes it firmly and down the ground. Is it going to reach the boundary? It's well pulled back, I think. That's an excellent bit of fielding. Short delivery again, and this one is far more firmly played by Stokel. Pulls this away just forward of square. To the boundary it races. Ireland 22 for 4 after 11 overs. Full and straight. Stokel steers it away. This should be 2 fairly comfortably.
Just the pace, the extra yard or 2 across the ground.
Struck on the pad, Aidan Seaver raises the finger, and Stokel is out. She stands in disbelief at the crease. But Ireland are 28 for 5. As Stokel departs, trapped LBW. Marlene Kelly, somebody who's
20 World Cup later on in the year, when every single is just so crucial.
That's nicely played by Kelly. Gets some power in the stroke, and he should get to the boundary. Indeed does, just ahead of De Silva.
Well, you said they needed to try and take the game on and take it to Sri Lanka, and that's lovely from Leah Paul. Just clubs it away. Yeah, that's lovely placement from Leah Paul, and I think it's going to just be cut off before the boundary is. That's a lovely shot from Arlene Kelly, hit with some intent, and she picks up a boundary. She moves on to 15 from 35, and Ireland past the 50 mark. Shorter ball, given the treatment, just sat up to be hit, and the second boundary in the over. So 8 coming off that over. 25 overs gone. Ireland halfway through their overs. They're 57 at one point. And that's a lovely looking stroke from Arlene Kelly. Between the two fielders, and she picks up another boundary.
And one of these two to score big. Leopold's not going to score big because that one's taking the outside edge. Slightly quicker outside off, gets a bit of bounce, and Leopold, well, looks to play it behind point. Loses her wicket for it, and Ireland's set batter around her quite yet.
Arlene Kelly says, none of this, I'm not hanging around. Sends it back over Nissan Sala's head and picks up 4. And she moves on to 27 from 55, I think.
And that's going to be a catch in the covers. Lovely work in the field. And Atapatu chips in now with a wicket. And at the departure of the potentially dangerous Saver Canning as well. And makes her way to the crease in just her second one. There's a big edge on that. Beat slip. It'll run away. All the way to the boundary, 4-4. So Arlene Kelly moves into the 30s.
And Seaver just Riley shaking his head.
This one though better. Catching opportunity, and it's been dropped. Disappointment for Dilari, who's fallen heavily. It's
gone full stretch like that. And because of the second grab, she wasn't with it, but second grab there is what's done for her, and her head is whipped forward, and that's having. So they'll have to do a concussion check here, and I'm sure they'll send her up.
Arlene Kelly, there's space out there. It's bisected a couple of fielders, but it's not going to go to the boundary. Again, and that's going to be close. The finger goes up from Aidan Seaver. Arlene Kelly's innings has come to an end on 35 as Atapatu claims her second wicket. This one is Ireland's 8th in the innings. Ireland 82 for 8 now. Freya Sargent makes her way to the crease. Eyes lit up when that ball was floated, and Freya Sargent has hit her first boundary in international cricket. A fine 4 to end the 37th over. Ireland are 89 for 8. And this will bisect the fielders, and we'll get at least a couple here. Might even get to the boundary. Again, some fine fielding. Gunaratne will whip this in, and Ireland will take 3. And this one, very nicely played by Alice Tector. That'll race away to the boundary. And 99 now for Ireland.
Yeah, Alice Tector, she moves on to 14, showing no signs of nerves today. Got that first match out of the way and
had the audacity to come down the pitch.
She's gone. Well, she comes down the pitch one too many times and has beaten her. And no mistake by Anushka Sanjuani behind the stump. She's got 3 catches and a stumping now today, the vice-captain. And that's the 9th.
Well, on the first day, didn't she, when she helped Orla Prendergast shepherd Ireland towards it with any authority.
Bit of football there from Kanchana. Top edge from the sweep shot. It's going to land safe. And 2 fielders giving chase. And has it got the legs? It has got the legs. Amy Maguire picks up 4 more.
Well, it's been so impressive from this there. Ariel again, they'll take on the fielder. Has to hit, doesn't. And a collision there from the bowler and Amy Maguire. Well, Amy Maguire gets up a lot more quickly, but that's never...
She's just getting the steps in. Yeah, that's a...
She was way short of her ground here. Amy Maguire hit it aerially, just took on the fielder. It bounced up nicely into De Silva's hands. And there it was. She turned away from the ball, but unfortunately found her way into the running Amy Maguire. And I was
post-match race. I'm sure they would love us for that.
I think, well, they've obviously had one and set a new PB. I mean,
found the outside edge, and that slip has been taken out now, so easily lands safe and cleaned up down at deep third. End of 45 overs, 5 still to come. Ireland 120 for 9 as the rain comes horizontally into the front of our tent.
Fair passing shower as opposed to the weather that we're likely to see for the rest of the day.
Well, Dulari was determined there as Freya Sargent went for the sweep shot, but Sue Redfern...
The width, that is a strong area for her.
And that'll be it. Freya Sargent, she stuck around. She really dug in at the end. Tamari picks up her third, and Sargent has to go for 16. Ireland all bowled out for 122 in the end. The captain, Chamari Atapatu, cleaning up the end, as we said she would like to do. Get this over with. And it didn't take long after that rain break for Sri Lanka to pick up that final wicket as the sun comes out again here in Stormont. And it was a really valiant effort from those two at the end, that partnership.
Yeah, made their way out to the middle, as have the umpires and indeed Ireland in the field. With Eva Canning and Alice Techney with ball in hand as well. First delivery from the castle end to Vishmi Gunaratne.
There'll be a massive ask of Marietta Patti ball into the pitch. Get the ball to do the talking.
Good swing, catches the inside edge of Atapatu, and this is likely to run away, but there'll be some promise in that for Alice Tector. Atapatu off the mark immediately, but the inside edge was up to Atapatu. And this one worked away and will go to the boundary for 4. Jamari Atapatu. Lovely stroke, whipped off her legs. And she races to 9 off just 5 deliveries. And that, a fine stroke from one of the finest in the game. Doesn't move. She knows it's gone to the boundary for 4. Second 4. Expansive shot, straight back over the bowler's head, and it's almost gone for 6. One bounce over the rope, and Gunaratne is off the mark with a fine stroke. Ends Tector's second over. For the rankings not too long ago. Fuller and wider and put away by Atapatu. Doesn't even move. She knows where that's going. Straight to the boundary.
Out of her crease.
And that's a fine stroke from Gunaratne. A lot of bottom hand. Whips it through leg side, past all of Prendergast.
Square leg.
And certainly clipping one away off her legs. Yeah, Paul is chasing. That ball has just got enough on it to reach the boundary. And Jamari Atapatu smartly onto 21 off just 18 deliveries. Bowled, and that is the end of Gunaratne. Eva Canning into the attack, has claimed a wicket in her first over, and Sri Lanka lose their first for 32. It's Gunaratne looking to get into double figures, who's played around that. One of the internationals as well, Samara Vikrama, who got to
sit tough.
This one will be worked away. It's worked away fine, and that's going to go to the boundary for 4. So Samara Vikrama is off the mark.
Sight.
Shot. Simply shot. Great power from Atapatu again. Whips Sargent away. First ball of her second over. And right on cue, Chamari Atapatu produces another expansive shot, this time powerful down the ground, over mid-on. And Atapatu is sharply to 30. And Atapatu will send another to the boundary. And the 50 up for Sri Lanka. Eva Canning. A little shorter, certainly wider. And Chamari Atapatu takes full advantage.
finding that outside edge. Freya Sargent giving chase, and the ball wins the race despite the bit of rain. It's still quick enough in the outfield.
Wants to scamper through and will retain the strike. Chamari Atapatu, the teenager, only turns 18 next month, and that's Chamari Atapatu at her finest. It's low and flat and incredibly hard, and to the boundary it goes. Atapatu into the 40s.
Yeah, vintage Atapatu, that.
It's bold and it's beautiful, this shot from Chamari Atapatu. Didn't quite get as much as she would have liked on it. It comes marching down the wickets and steers that right back over the bowler's head for another 4.
Yeah, just sort of the bottom corner, the toe of the bat almost from Atapatu, but it's got enough power behind it and enough on it that it wins the race. That's just pierced that gap. Backwards point, and Samara Vikrama joins the boundary hitting party. She moves on to 23 from 37, and the score moves on to 87 for 1.
And that's going to beat both fielders. Another boundary off this over. Samara Vikrama goes to 32. And looks to go to a 50, and instead is caught by Alice Tector. Chamari Atapatu out for 48, looking to go to a half-century. Freya Sargent has picked up the prized wicket. And Sri Lanka on 94 for 2.
Taking it above her head, well taken in the end. See the back of Atapatu.
Always do bring the sunshine. That's a complete lie as an Irish person, I can say. Definitely don't do that. Nicely eased through the leg side from Samara Vikrama. She does jog down the other end, but she pretty much knew from the off that was a boundary as they march towards victory.
Perhaps gets herself a little short, and then actually it was going for the catch in the end that was what meant it could race to the boundary, because she couldn't catch up with it, just hitting that boundary triangle. 3.
Well, they're going to take the one because
Hughes it up in the air just over the head of Arlene Kelly at extra cover. And not yet. And that'll be the game. Sri Lanka, they win it. Dilari just clubs it into the leg side, and they pick up 1 run. Samara Vikrama puts her bat under her arm and takes her gloves off. Freya Sargent picks up her goggles, her sunglasses, and there's high fives all around Sri Lanka. There's a hug between the two batters in the middle. They've won this game today convincingly.